Alrighty, folks. Today we have JP Gandam. So today is an interview with one of our Agent Attraction IO clients. A lot in store. Some things that you probably never thought about when it comes to even retention for your downline or your team or your brokerage. So we'll definitely chime on that. And just in general, where JP's heading and all of his plans. So some exciting stuff in store. So with that out of the way, JP, why don't we start off with yourself, man? Introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah, awesome, Prav. I appreciate you having me on. I'm an agent of 7 years. Before that, I was in the banking industry. And most recently, I'd say about a year and a half, Prav and I started working together. Now we have this company called Create Quality Leads where we help agents scale their business. And it's really aligned really well with our agent downline and how we're attracting agents into essentially our downline and helping them generate a whole lot of leads. So been an agent for a whole bunch of time, but more so moving towards those digital products and being able to help more people in our industry because our industry, the rate of agents that leave is insane. I mean, I think it's 80% of agents leave within the first 5 years. So my goal personally in the last year and a half has been to make sure that number decreases and more agents stay in the game because at the end of the day, the agents just need the deals or the people to talk to be able to stay in the game because then they need to figure out exactly how they're going to convert those leads and so on and so forth. So it's been a really exciting journey, and just learning about this side has really helped my business personally, selling real estate, but more so helping agents do the same.
Yeah, it's funny too, like, cause you guys are in the same office as us, a couple doors down, and like I honestly was solving another problem at that time, and then like I wasn't super familiar with the concept of downlines and cloud-based brokerages, and you guys were at one, and that's when I like really started to understand everything, right? So that's part of the reason why we actually started this offer. We're like, wait, there's a lot of potential here, and I think just folks like yourself that have done tremendously well, and there's like a lot of vehicles even within real estate as a licensed individual to get your skill sets and monetize them, like getting into that just that downline infrastructure, and you are mentoring folks right with your expertise and knowledge. And you know I think that is really where things are heading. I mean, I see so many new brokerages emerging. Epic Realty is one of them, LPT Realty, Real Broker. Like, I think what's going to happen in the next couple of years, I mean, obviously this interview is really just about cloud-based brokerages, but it applies for anything, to be honest. But I think the industry is definitely shifting towards this. And some of the fastest growing companies in the real estate industry, especially the brokerage vertical, are really like these cloud-based brokerages. And it's just like not a coincidence. This incentives are aligned, right? And I think the people that are even in that downline space that are doing exceptionally well, they're positioning themselves a certain way. And I think the biggest disconnect is like, well, what can I position myself as? Like, what do I do? And I think that doubt comes in as like, am I even qualified to be some of like these top downline folks, right? Like where some of these guys that might have been real estate coaches, or, they've been in the industry for like 30 plus years, whatever, right? So um, I think obviously when you started out, did you have a little bit of doubts like, oh, can I be that mentor? Can I be that coach? So did you have that starting out?
Yeah, definitely. I think even now, like as the cloud-based brokerages, let's say they're 6, 7 years old, right? At the beginning, sure, you may have gotten the ability to attract a lot of people by just saying, "Hey, I'm at a cloud-based brokerage. It's awesome. You should check it out." But now I think it's kind of really changing. There's a lot of people at cloud-based brokerages that are offering unique like value propositions. They're offering things like coaching. They're offering things like social media guides. They're offering things like how you generate leads, right? And that's really what agents are wanting to get from a cloud-based brokerage, whether that be from the cloud-based brokerage or from the person that's attracting them to the cloud-based brokerage. We typically call that the sponsor. They're wanting that type of support. And if they're not getting it, they're simply just going to leave, right? So they're not going to stay with that brokerage too long if they're not feeling like they're getting the value. Now, in terms of like my doubts and things like that, as I had coming into this, I definitely had a lot of imposter syndrome. I had a lot of doubts. I was like, hey, what do I have to offer? What can I really provide these people? Now, at the beginning, I kind of just relied on my experience. Like, hey, I can provide these people like what I've done. I've sold 100 houses, done over $100 million in sales. But how was it that I was to quantify that? I didn't understand. So how was I able to provide that and say, hey, here's the package of value, take it and use it and apply in your own business? I literally had no way to figure out how to do that. So when I met you guys, it was kind of a lot easier to understand how to put my knowledge into it. It's not like I had like the roadmap to success before I started doing this. I kind of stumbled upon it and figured things out, and then met you guys, and it kind of really aligned with my experience and then what you guys were doing. And I was like, oh shit, like you guys have really packaged it all together and made it very easy for someone like myself with the experience to go and apply it and teach it to other people. So I did have that imposter syndrome, but then the way you guys explained it and when we started getting connected and coming to coaching calls, things like that, it really helped me pretty much systematize it and put it in a package for me to give it to other agents and make sure that they're using it in a way that one made them successful. Because if they're not doing deals, they're no use in being in our downline. It didn't make any sense. Like it's just dead weight. It actually like I don't really like that because there's something called frontline qualifying agents, and
Mhm.
basically those are agents that are doing deals every couple of months. And if our total agents and our front line is a big difference, that means we're not doing a great job. We're not having effective agents. So it definitely helped in that way to kind of cure that imposter syndrome a bit, because now we're giving deliverables. We're having things that we can actually give to them and they're seeing the value. And that's one thing with digital products is like sometimes when you're doing like a service, it's not something that you give to somebody and they feel the value. It's just kind of like you're giving them knowledge, but with the system that we've implemented, it's actually something tangible that you can say, hey, look, this is giving you success. These are the numbers on it. And I mean, it's black and white, right?
Yeah, I think you touched upon a lot of good points there. I mean, particularly one was obviously like the FLQA and like, I just think that I was talking to one of our other clients too, and he was like, so he's like a lot of brokerages like eXp, or even like Real Broker and everything. Obviously, every brokerage has different rules on sponsorship and attracting and recruiting, which is might be varied. But what we always go with is like always charge, right? Like charge for their product. Forget about the attraction piece. That's gonna come as a byproduct. Like even when I interview a lot of other clients, like they're like, yeah, I didn't even actually really focus on attraction. I had like 30 people reach out to me in 3 months. So like really the main thing, and we'll talk about this as well, because it's a lot of stuff we were talking about earlier. But like charging always, like even you guys, right? Like, I think a lot of people that I've seen at UXP, what they will do is they will just like, hey, here's it for free if you join. But like I would always charge, and I think you guys are actually doing that. And I know right now, right? Like you guys are still just in the infancy, like you guys are just really doubling down on this. And I think running that paid ads, packing the calendar is like the next step, which I see like crazy, just the floodgates opening from there. We'll get into that. But when you first sort of like thought about this digital product stuff, right? Did you ever think about it actually using an attraction magnet, or was it really just like, hey, like, look, there's a lot of money to be made in the space, and I want to make money first. We don't really care too much about the traction right now. Like, what was like the thought process going into this?
I honestly think yeah, I think it was more so like let's make some money and let's help some agents. I didn't even think of it as the attraction piece either. Like it kind of came as a byproduct. But the thing is, like you know it as much as I do, Prav, people who pay play, right? Like they need to be able to pay for a service and understand the value of it to be able to implement it. There's a million things that people can do. You can YouTube things all day, but if they're not paying for these things and they're not understanding like, hey, this is worth this much, I pay this much, a lot of the times they don't implement it, right? So I think that that was a huge thing. Firstly, yeah, I didn't really see it as an attraction piece. I firstly saw it as like an actual separate business from my real estate. But now like the way that it's being presented and the people that are coming to me and saying like, hey, I want to join eXp with you. I actually did have somebody reach out the other day. Like he literally said like, hey, can I join eXp with you? I'm like, yeah, you can join eXp with you, man. Let's hop on a Zoom call, right? So, I mean, I think it will eventually get to the point where we just have a link to book a call to join, or even just the join app. I think that that could definitely be a way that we're going to go with this. We actually have built another landing page out for our school community as well. So, I mean, it's helped with so many different facets, but it's really like a big funnel. So the people who want the digital products might want the cloud-based brokerage as well. And if it's not right for them at a digital product standpoint, maybe it's right for them at eXp. And then eventually, I feel like a lot of those people will cross paths and they'll need everything from us. But essentially, it's an upsell, downsell game, right?
100%. And like I'm in like a lot of Russell Brunson's higher level masterminds as well, and he always talks about the concept of like delivering value first and then asking for the bigger sale. Like so, like whatever the way Russell Brunson has taught us is like get that initial sale in, deliver value, make them pay, and then you can actually it's really easy to ask for the next sale. And like asking someone to join a downline is honestly a really big sale, right? It's not an easy thing. So the thing I always look at from like I'm actually an outsider and I always look at it from this angle is like why would you want to do what everyone else is doing? Because what everyone else is doing is typically wrong. You want to be a little bit different. So, you know, when everyone else is just like I think that obviously there's a way of delivering value and you can do that on a YouTube channel, which obviously can take years and YouTube's hard as heck right now, but we can skip that and like start selling a digital product and get people to pay you. And then that almost cooks the people up and warms them up. And then naturally they're gonna reach out to you. I also think near the end I will get into like what I think I would do. Especially given from like after I talked to a lot of our clients that are doing really well with agent interaction, what they're doing. But like the next question I want to ask is like, so obviously you guys started off, I think you guys did like 25K in sales in 2-ish months, which is pretty good. Was it like, was the learning curve pretty straightforward for you? Or did it take a little bit of time to learn? Because a lot of people get scared of that whole techie stuff. You know what I mean? So how was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean the way you guys laid it out, it was super simple. If there was issues, we obviously have the Slack channel, which we can just throw a message in there and kind of get that solved. But we also have the coaching calls, right? So I think the coaching calls were invaluable. I still join them today. Like those are super valuable because they happen so frequently. And then if there is an issue with, let's say, delivery of product, or let's say even just setting somebody up on the system, like there's always so much support that I can turn to. So you guys have done an extremely good job with that, because there was never a point where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do and I can't find help and this just doesn't work. Like there was never a technological frustration point that I got to where I was just like, you know what, I don't want to do this. So it doesn't, like, it's not, you don't open a laptop and everything's done, but there's support along the way, and the support's huge. Like I don't know how you guys manage that much support.
Well, yeah, I think one of the big things, like the golden nugget, is just like, when you're just sticking to one niche and like solving one problem, you can apply a lot of economies of scale, it gets easier, right? Even like with your guys' digital product, like I think a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be so much work and all this kind of stuff. But if you think about it, like most of the agents have the same pretty consistent problems all over the board. And, you get really good at solving that problem. And then it's just the same thing. And then you can teach that to staff members. And like, I'm pretty removed. Like even for today, like recorded at 12:45, but I came to the office at like 11 something, right? So like the thing is like everything runs behind the scenes and you can be pretty much removed in like a semi-passive way. And like, I'm at a point where I don't have to work. I just focus on like stuff like this for content and marketing and everything. And I think that's the place to be in, right? Because like if you have everything on the back end running. And so you guys, obviously, I think I really want to talk about this because it's something that I didn't even consider was such a big thing. So obviously when it comes to the whole agent attraction game, downlines and everything, retention is the number one thing, right? And I think people that retain the best their downline, they do the best in general, right? So next question really is like, in terms of agent attraction, right? Obviously you already had a couple folks reach out and it's so early on right now and you guys haven't even started running ads or anything. But once you guys started running ads, what's going to end up happening is your guys' calendars are going to be packed and agents are going to be reaching out like, hey, JP, I want to work with you. And then that naturally the conversation already starts of like, hey, like, look, you can get a discount if you partner with me, right? The key thing is always charging, or even on the back end, right? Like when these people pay, you had told me that, a lot of the people already, like you have your downline already in that program, right? So not only does that serve as a really good retention piece for the downline, but let's just say if I'm in your program, I come in and I'm not at eXp and I see everyone on the calls eXp you guys are talking about it, naturally it's gonna pique my brain and be like, wow, like this eXp stuff seems pretty interesting. Let me reach out to JP, right? He's the leader here, and that's what happened. So when it comes to agent attraction, how do you see this sort of working for you? I mean, obviously there's a front end piece, but let's talk a little bit more about like the retention part as well. Like, how's that working for you right now with the current downline?
Yeah, it's working extremely well because one thing is like with having a downline, it can be a whole lot of work, or it can be how we're doing it right now, which is basically how Attraction IO has helped us systematize it. And if people have issues or if people have, like you said, everybody has similar questions, now we have those digital products in order to push them to so that they can get their information, right? So it's good for that, but too, it's good for the amount, like the community that we built around these digital products. So with having our community, let's say the school community that we have great quality lead clients in there. We have eXp downline agents in there. So when those people start talking to each other, the eXp downline people are talking to great quality leads people. They're getting massive value, so they're hyping it up. And then the eXp downline people are talking to the great quality leads people. They're hyping each other up. And I just don't do anything. I'd let them basically sell each other because they are two really, really good products. I was literally on a meeting this morning with some eXp agents, and there was a great quality leads person there, and basically we were calling internally another eXp agent from another location because we didn't service that area, and the guy was pretty much like, "Yeah, man, like you don't even need to send me a referral fee. I'll just quickly do this market value for you and send it back to you." And then the other agents were like, "Holy shit, like this is very different from our brokerage." So like they wanted more information about it. They were like, "Yeah, like." I would love to learn more. Like, we don't have that kind of support, and it's not global either, right? So if we have somebody in Florida, we can quickly go on our back end, message all the agents in Florida, and then somebody will get back to us giving us that support. So I think that's one thing. So it helps for ascension. So different offers. If people don't know what that is, so you basically can ascend people to different offers using that, but it also helps with retention because they look at the value they're receiving by way of those digital products, and then they go, even if they are curious, they go look at another brokerage. Not a lot of people, I think you're really, really early on in this, but not a lot of people have a program for agent attraction. There's not, I haven't ran into anybody that is offering a program that allows you to attract agents in this way. So I think you guys are really, really hitting the nail on this one.
Yeah, I think if we look at tech companies and tech startups, the biggest tech companies have network effects in them, right? And like I think with that community, there's that network effect because every additional user makes the community a little bit more inherently valuable. So like if a new agent comes in, there's more, the network gets more and more valuable. So the network itself becomes the actual product. And that like it just becomes easier and easier. And I think a good point you really made, just to really, because there's so much value here, is like one, not only does that community of people actually want to stick together more because they're in a community, there's actually like a course area to guide them to support and all not only positions you as the expert, and they consistently look at you as the expert as well. But also like they actually deliver value for themselves and then they're able to close deals because there's a curriculum to follow. And a lot of them will pay you. And that's what also gets them to implement. But not only that, like now when these people are in this community, your downline and the people that are part of that digital product, maybe they're not part of the downline, just being in that community of other folks at that other brokerage that you're trying to attract them to, it works seamlessly and like naturally just it's like a cultivation ground, right? So it's like it's like a little, they call it like a bacteria pool, they call it, and like everything starts growing and growing and like it just starts compounding from there. So you can almost obviously, if those people are in your downline, they can like how do you do it? Like they just attract for themselves under them or like do you try to get them directly under you? Like, how does that work in that?
Yeah, so here's what I do in those situations. I mean, we'll take calls when an agent under us wants to bring an agent in and they want like an actual call with us. Sure, we'll take that. But a lot of the times, what the agent will do is they'll show them our community and the access that they have under the under our digital products. And they'll kind of sell themselves into it. So they'll be like, yeah, like I want to join. Let's say I made you join eXp and you were under my downline, and then you had somebody like Jazz come along. You would just be like, hey Jazz, like look, this is the access you'll get to this type of information if you join us. And then they're pretty much good to go because they already know about eXp. It's the fastest growing brokerage, blah blah blah. So it's definitely an attraction piece for people in our downline as well. And I allow them access to that as well, 7 layers. So
Mm.
I say, hey, you know what? Anybody who you attract, they'll be able to come into this community as well. Now, it's a two-step thing though. It's not like a done for you at that point. It's more so of like a done with you with a little bit less components to make entice them, I guess, to join the Create Quality Leads full program because I really feel like they'll get much more service if they pay for it because one, it'll be more worth my time. I'll be able to give more time and attention to it because physically, if I was just giving everybody the full access to the full program under my downline, it would not make sense for me to do based on my time. And it would not make sense for them to do because I'd be doing them a disservice giving that to them because I wouldn't put enough effort into it to
100%.
be sure they're successful, right?
That's a great point. So like obviously like if I'm in your downline or attract someone in, obviously, they can get in at like they don't have to necessarily pay, but then to get the actual thing they still have to pay. So naturally what ends up happening is they're gonna have to pay anyways, right? Because like they're gonna be the community, they're gonna reach out. And then even like your direct downline could be like, hey, look, I recommend you pay these guys because it's smart. So yeah, everything works together. And I think at the end of the day, it's like that concept of getting paid to attract that really just keeps reinforcing itself. Now, um, obviously, you guys have not really been running ads, but where I see this going for you guys, and like just from what I'm experienced from talking to other clients, has been like, okay, so you guys start running ads all over Canada, USA. Um, First of all, your calendars will be flooded with agents that want to work with you. And that's a nice piece because you just position yourself as an expert. So when you're positioning like people are coming to you as opposed to you going to them, and then whenever that happens, like that's actually attraction, right? So now whether they pay you for your digital product, whether they want to partner with you directly, that's up to you. Now, obviously what I've seen that works the best is getting you to pay regardless for digital product. Don't even bring up that agent attraction piece, right? Let that agent attraction piece just come naturally. But what I would say is like on the front end, you're gonna have salespeople because obviously you want to run this kind of thing where it's not really impacting everything is semi-passive. You have a lot of salespeople, 2 to 3 at the minimum, and then they're all like just selling people in. You can scale this up. Like Will, one of our clients, had like $189,000 a month last month. Like so, it's a lot of money, and he's doing exceptionally well at a high margins. I think he just bought a brand new E63. I saw it on the
I saw
story.
that. I saw
Yeah,
that. I saw
it's
that.
a
Will's a cool guy too. Man. I like that guy.
yeah, those are nice cards. But basically, yeah, like what he's doing is they're probably gonna scale up even more, and like once that happens, like what happens naturally is like people will come on your calendar, be like, yeah, I want to work with GP. I like what they're doing, but the issue is that I just literally cannot even, you know, um, pay for this, right? Like you can offer funding programs, and then that's when your salesperson will be like, hey, look, JP offers this at a discount, like, we can give 50% off. Are you willing to hear more about what that is? And then naturally what can happen is like you could just start booking on a calendar one-on-one, 15, 20-minute slots and bring up that opportunity, right? And then that's a really neat, nice, easy way to attract people naturally without them even paying and going to the product. But that should never be the main thing because I would much rather make like 150, 200 grand a month, have a lot of profit coming in, than keep the ad spend going because that you don't want to turn off the goose. Like the goose lays the eggs. You don't want to kill the goose, right? So that fuels the goose and keeps feeding it, food. So the calendars keep getting packed. But once they buy on, you already have that community element. It's like cooking up all these people naturally. They're gonna start reaching out to you. So like whenever I have the interviews with people like Will, I'm gonna have an interview with Joel soon, and like even Sammy. They never actually focus so much on the agent attraction piece. They just focus on helping these agents, and naturally from the community and from them, the people start reaching out like, hey, like what's the eXp stuff? I'm interested, right? Or Real Broker, whatever brokers are, LPT, Epic, right? So that's how it is. So you're not really leading with attraction. You're leading with helping and serving, and you're making money as a byproduct. And naturally, you're gonna already automatically attract. Because I think a lot of times agents, they're giving so much value away, especially people at downline level, but they're not getting paid for it. And they're gonna have to wait till the people start producing and get paid. So I'd much at least that way you're so motivated to keep on pushing for giving value because you're getting paid up front. So like the natural piece of agent attraction comes in. Now, what I would say, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but this is what I see for you guys is like once the people buy on, right? What you guys can naturally have is like so like the first program is like how to get lead gen coming in, how to book appointments. Because honestly, realistically, if I were to say, like, you can have a coaching program or anything, you can have a coaching program on door knocking, you can have a coaching program on mindset. But let's face it, every agent thinks they need leads. Obviously, do they really need them? No, because what they need is accountability, pick up the phone, dial. The leads will help there. That's something that's there, but like that's what they think they need. So you get them in. But on the back end, I think a natural ascension piece would be like, okay, now let's help you systemize and hire virtual assistants, or let's help you build a brand, or let's now have a YouTube program on the back end, have a whatever that thing is for you. So then when people start going to the program, they're like, okay, JP, how can I work with you further? Or you have people like you have coaches. You can hire some of your clients as coaches, and these coaches can be your downline. And they can be like, hey, look, like John, like you've done pretty well in our program. I think you're liking it. Do you want to jump on a call? And they say yes. So John, like obviously we've helped you so much, and I think you'd be a great fit for our other program. Now the other program retails at this much price. And John's like, okay, yeah, I'm interested. Like, okay, John's another option for you, and I think this would be great for you. Are you open to hearing more? Yes. And then you start bringing up that opportunity for partnership and attraction. You say, not only will you get this program for a discount or free, you get this. And look, John, you're not even getting to the other brokerage right now. Let's partner up. And it's a really easy way and a natural way. It's like a funnel on the back end. So you start siphoning these people partnering with you. So now you're actually attracting people that have already paid you, they view you as an expert, but also used your product and got success. So they're going to continue to use your product and get success. And they're actually closing and they're producing, and that's what you want anyway. So you're like having a factory line of like these A players, right? So that's what I see for you guys. And that's what I think a lot of other agents are doing in the program. So is that what you were also thinking about too?
Yeah, man, this stuff just gets me super excited because I never like I people always look at financial freedom, and I feel like I got to the point where I had financial freedom, but I didn't have time or location freedom. This is the two things that this type of business is allowing me to do because one, we can move. Like I said, we're going to Miami in October. But to be able to do that along with time freedom, whereas basically you just hire people like that to be able to do that. And that's exactly kind of what Prab did, right? So Prab, my fiance, she basically used the product, did a whole bunch of real estate deals, and now she's like the best salesperson for us. So she basically hops on the calls, is super candid with them, shows them exactly how it's helped her close deals because she came from an environment where she was not taught how to get leads. And this was before I met her. She was not taught how to talk to people. She wasn't taught any of this stuff. So she came and we kind of met each other, and I showed her this entire program. She put it to use, started closing deals, and she's like, dude, this is awesome. Like everybody should be doing this. But with the way that this business is aligned, it aligns with us in the sense that we get to travel and do it. So she's like, I want to do so more so like on this back end. So, and she's crushing it with the sales. So I think it comes down to like really just believing in the process and understanding that like it does work as long as you're doing what you should be doing. And I think that really gets rid of my fear daily, honestly, to overcome like, hey, what if it doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? Like you just really need to just do what you need to be doing, and it eventually works.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a big part of that is like that time freedom element, just because I know a lot of people we speak to like on our calls, I see sometimes guys will be like, yeah, but I got so much stuff going on my brokerage and I really want to do this and like I gotta do this. I have all this stuff on my plate. But the thing is like that's like a never ending, it's like a death trap. Like basically like you're gonna continue to do that until you change something, right? So I always say is like, I think all of us as entrepreneur individuals, it's like who I think fundamentally we just want to work less, earn more, so we can do things like we love. And like even myself, like I'd much rather earn a little bit less, but I'd rather, live a fulfilling life that I'm proud of and happy of. And I think, with this kind of model, with any online business model, it for first of all, like it just allows you to have that time. Like you really want to spend time with family or whatever it is, travel, allows you to do that. And like a lot of the clients that we have here, what's up happening is they're making so much money from digital product they just sort of outsource a lot of their production because it's like I'm making way more from this without even having to leave my house. And like that's ideally the best place to be in. So now you're sort of I think that it's sort of like an ideal place to be in for any entrepreneur, especially in the real estate agent attraction industry, is like you are sitting from home, you can work any time of the day with your laptop, but also growing a compounding asset, which is your downline. You do that for 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 maybe, honestly less than that, and then you're set. Like, so if you think about
Yeah.
it, you're set.
Even like mentally, man, I remember like days where I'd have to go show a property at like 11 p.m., like 9 a.m. Like real estate is mentally exhausting. This is the reason why we're pursuing this company because I feel so refreshed at the end of the day. Like I could literally work from like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. and I'll be able to go to the gym afterwards and be totally fine. Like, because all we do is we're here, sitting here comfortably, like talking to people and meeting really cool people because now we're not just working with the people that we can drive to. We're working with people that are in Miami or they're in California or they're in like whoever knows where, right? Like it's just mentally for my mental health, it's literally been 10 times better than just selling houses because it's interesting, but like when you sell a house, I'd say 90% of my clients are just like, cool, you good job, thanks. Like that's it. But when you help an agent get to the point in their career that they want to get to, or they were about to exit the business and now they're able to stay in the business and actually pursue their dreams, buy their parents a car, buy their first house, like that is so much more fulfilling for me. I don't know if it's because I've been doing selling houses for 7 years, but to be able to do that and then get paid super well it's freaking amazing. It's been like a huge blessing, man. So I want to thank you. I keep thanking you, but
No, I love it. I love it. And I think I'm really excited for you guys. It's because when you guys, because I always say like it's like a race to paid ads. So like, you guys are gonna be running your ads, or maybe only running, and like, I'm telling you guys right now, like, once that clicks, like, obviously, what I would do is like revisit the course area, really just binge everything, because paid ads is like it's gonna be a little bit of a different beast, but obviously, that's what's gonna be really scaling you guys to like those six-figure months or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna really, really, really excited for. Now, a couple of last minute questions. I know that a lot of them probably already get answered, but for some people that want like to really hear it from someone like yourself, is like I hear a lot from prospective clients like, okay, like this is great. I know I need to grow my down. I know I need to like, get into this stuff. I thought about it, but I don't know if I have the time right now to implement this. So what they're really saying is, I don't know if I have the time right now to grow a compounding asset, which is a downline. And if I grow my downline, it'll solve all the other problems for me anyways. But like people consistently don't look at it. Like from an outsider perspective, the way I see it is like you doing what you're doing right now is not going to really change anything. So if we're going to grow that downline, which is the number one domino to tackle, you're going to tackle a lot of other problems in your business right now. Like you told us that you don't have time with your family. So how do you like, what would you say to people that think that they don't have that time right now? Because obviously you were extremely busy as well. You were a top producer, like, so like tell me a little bit more about that. How did you, what would you say? What are your words of wisdom on that? Like people say, yeah, I don't think I have time to do this right now. I'll come back and revisit this. Like, what do you think about that?
yeah, here's the thing is like the longer you delay it, the more you'll get behind because this industry is it's ever changing, so you need to stay on top of trends. But the thing is, if you don't do it, you're basically putting yourself at a disadvantage because you're going to be restarting every year. January 1st, everybody's at $0 in real estate. And that's the worst place to be because you've worked all these years and you keep starting at zero. When you build a reoccurring revenue stream like that, like it's something that takes care of you when you need it the most. So if you go listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of interviews of people who have built systems like this that provides income for them on a regular basis without you essentially having to work. So passive income, let's say. But the amount of stories that I've heard where people like get sick or they get cancer or they get like their kid passed away, any situation where they're no longer able to work for a period of time, that's where these massive income streams that you build up really show their value. So in my head, like what motivates me to make time or set aside time. Everybody has time. It's just about how you prioritize time. But what makes me prioritize time in the way that makes me want to work on this is the fact, like, let's say if something happened to me, who's going to take care of my future wife? Who's going to take care of my future kids? Who's going to take care of my family? If something happens to my parents, I have to then go sell a house to be able to provide the income to be able to take care of them. That doesn't really sit right with me. And that doesn't make me feel like I did the job I should do as even a man, or even as a boss woman. Some people are, take care of things, right? So for me, it's like, okay, am I gonna be in a point where I have to go knock on doors and try to grind to get the next deal? Or am I going to be at a point where I can rely on that passive income, whether that be from the eXp downstream or even from this business, because our digital products are reoccurring as well. They're on a yearly membership type of situation. So I would rather work really hard and build that than work really hard and get some income that'll never happen again because people usually sell their houses after 5 to 10 years, right? So they're not going to be really regular customers. It's going to be like, okay, where's the next deal coming from? Where's the next deal coming from? Where's the next deal coming from? Whereas in this business, it's like we're taking care of them. We're making sure that their business is running and they're paying for that. So I think that's what really motivates me, man, understanding those people's stories. And we can always, if you learn this stuff now, when you're in those positions, you won't be as shocked. Oh my God, I got sick. Like it's gonna happen. Bad things are gonna happen to you. If you expect it, you plan for it, then you're gonna be in a way better position than anybody else.
I love it, love it. Yeah, that's some awesome words of wisdom, man. So what any other sort of tip for anyone that's on the fence working with us, like sort of the last thing here before we wrap it up? Um, what's like your what's a couple words for that?
Yeah, I would honestly say like take the leap of faith. It's probably worth one deal for you. I mean, in my market, one deal is like 10K. It's probably around there. Like if it does, like if it works, it's going to be amazing. You've seen it work in other people. I'm a local person. Like a lot of people are from like Vancouver as well. I was a person who really didn't understand education. Like I got C's and like D's and stuff in school, and I was able to figure it out. Like it's not that difficult, and I would say it's honestly easier than making real estate work and knocking on doors and doing that. Plus there's way less liabilities. So you have to look at all types of all parts of the business, like what's your liability, what's your overhead, what's the possibility of the business being around in 10 years, especially being around in 10 years. If we look at real estate, we look at the NAR settlement, right? That's like huge for realtors. And
Mhm.
realtors are not really taking that seriously, right? So, I mean, getting into the online space, it really takes care of you because there's ways to navigate that, include AI in your business. And that's one thing that you guys did a really good job with. You always stay on top of things and you always make sure that we, as clients of yours, know how to navigate those new situations as well. So I would just say take the leap of faith and look at all the case studies. There's so many people that have done it. If they've done it, if I've done it, then you can do it as well. It's not rocket science, and these guys have laid it out extremely well for us. So
I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you so much for everything. I know that you guys are doing some great things like great quality leads. So obviously, for anyone that's watching this right now, whether you want to work with them or you want to refer your downline to them, where can they find you, JP, on Instagram? What's the website? How can they reach out to you to work together?
yeah, greatqualityleads.com and Instagram is JP_Gandam. That's where I post most of my stuff. Honestly, we're just really focusing on that Instagram content. It's brought a lot of business as well. So yeah, if you guys have any questions as well, feel free to hit me up there.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Thank you so much, JP, and we'll connect soon. See you, man.
Yeah, man.